setting up the webinar to go live, so that's good. So once I redirect this link, we'll be doing the thing. Let's see what this looks like.
Hang on, I have Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin in the green room for some reason, so I'm just gonna talk to him real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Jack, I'm going to just send you a link to check on your computer to see if the live stream works. Just click that YouTube link before I redirect it. I saw you signal me. If you could just drop something in Slack. Check one. Check one.
Hey Joe, that bit.ly link you just sent, is that good for the main session?
For the live streaming?
Yeah. The Colonel wanted to check it out.
Oh yeah, send that to him.
Cool.
We're actually live on there now, but I don't think we just started the redirect, so we may start to pick up people. So we should probably go to Slack Slack to chat from here on out.
Sounds good.
Okay. right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in just one moment. I just want to make sure that we are all ready to go. But we'll be starting here in just a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to everyone. My name is Joe Alessi, and I am the program director here at the Congressional App Challenge. In the Congressional App Challenge, Congress has created the largest series of concurrent coding competitions anywhere in the world. House of Code is a celebration of the incredible 2020 Congressional App Challenge. The students who are in attendance today are winners of that app challenge in 2020. There are hundreds of them in total, one team from each participating district named winners by their member of Congress. 308 members of Congress from 49 states hosted app challenges in 2020, a new record for the program. Thousands of students competed in this year's competition with apps ranging from helping Generation Z learn or register to vote and learn about voting issues to helping elderly neighbors safely acquire groceries during COVID-19. I am not breaking new ground when I say that 2020 was a year unlike any other. But what was groundbreaking, however, was the incredible commitment of students, teachers, and mentors to use the Congressional App Challenge to help heal their communities in the face of COVID-19. Over 50% of this year's apps coded for the Congressional App Challenge helped address issues created by the COVID-19 pandemic. This competition is a reminder of the good that is possible through public service, and the incredible work of these young app challengers inspires Congress to never lose sight of what's possible, no matter your age, background, or skill set. I'd now like to introduce our first speaker at House of Code, Representative Chrissy Houlahan of Pennsylvania's 6th District. Representative Houlahan is an Air Force veteran, entrepreneur, and educator who is continuing her career of service as the first woman ever to represent Pennsylvania's 6th District in Congress. Representative Houlahan is also no stranger to STEM, having achieved a degree in engineering at Stanford. In 2020, she launched the Women's STEM Caucus, which was founded to increase presence of women and underrepresented minorities across STEM fields. Representative Houlahan, welcome to House of Code.
Sorry, I can't show my video, but I'll get started if that's okay. It says this host has stopped my video, so I will keep going despite the technology.
Great, I think you should be able to share now.
Let's try it now.
We're all working through
here
it.
We all are. Excellent.
Excellent.
Hi, Joe, and thanks so much for having me, and good evening to all of you coders. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to congratulate each and every one of you. Even in the middle of a pandemic, your brilliant and creative spirits have shined through, and you've produced some truly exceptional apps for this year's Congressional App Challenge. And I would be remiss if I didn't have a special shout out to Great Valley High School's very own Srinakit, who, for his community app, We the Speakers, which helps students with public speaking and general communication skills. And I feel like that I'm in a virtual room with my own fellow nerds and geeks tonight, which is always a really good thing. As Joe mentioned, my name is Chrissy Houlahan. I represent Pennsylvania's 6th District in Congress, which is just outside of Philadelphia. And prior to serving in Congress, I was, like many of you, really passionate about STEM. When I was a little girl, in fact, I wanted to be Sally Ride. She was the first American woman in space. She inspired me to go pursue engineering at Stanford because that's where she went. And while I haven't made it to outer space quite yet, I did end up serving in the Air Force as an engineer and focusing on anti-ballistic missile defense. After my military service, I was able to join the business world and help to build companies in my community in Pennsylvania, applying a lot of technologies to that purpose. And from there, I went on to teach chemistry in North Philadelphia and on to improving early childhood literacy. And now I'm able to be here representing the people of my community in Congress. And it is so, so important for people, especially young people like yourselves, to understand how many doors a STEM education can open for you. So many of my friends in Congress are really genuinely shocked when they hear that I'm an engineer. And so it's up to you, the people in this room, to try to normalize the presence of people with STEM backgrounds in all kinds of careers. Some of you may go on to work in labs and research. Others will create the next viral app. Some of you may teach, and still others may become entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs. And maybe there's even a future congresswoman or president here in the audience. My point is that studying STEM doesn't just teach you science, but it also provides you an array of problem-solving tools that will serve you in whatever career path you decide to choose. There isn't a day of lawmaking that goes by for me that I don't rely on my engineering background and training in some capacity. And that's why I'm so passionate about the Congressional App Challenge, because it helps to connect us as members of Congress to you all, the next generation of leaders. We're connected because of our shared interest in science and technology, because of our joint passion for asking how things work in the world, because of our penchant for solving problems to help those in our community and beyond. So I want to take a moment as well to acknowledge all the girls who entered the STEM competition as well, because right now there's still a huge imbalance in the STEM population. While women account for 52% of the college-educated workforce, we only account for 29% of the science and engineering workforce. And it's even worse when you look at engineering in particular, it's about 16% of the workforce. So those numbers are even lower when you look at women of color. So it's important that we continue to diversify our STEM community. Not only is it the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do, because different perspectives will drive different creativity and ingenuity. And we certainly need that as a nation and as a planet. So I started my speech with Sally Ride, a woman who sparked my own personal passion for the sciences, but you can't be what you can't see. So it's more than ever important that our STEM community reflects the diversity of our country, and we will be made better for it. So to each of you, I extend my heartfelt congratulations and admiration. To say that this past year, as Joe said, has been difficult would be certainly an understatement, yet you stand here today having preserved, persevered, and followed your passion. The work we do here in Congress is about you, the next generation of inspiring leaders. Thank you to my fellow nerds and geeks. Stay safe and be well and be kind to one another.
Representative Houlahan, thank you so much for joining us. That was great. Thank you for kicking us off today. We are going to continue on in the program now. And I just wanted to quickly mention one or two items before I hand this over to my colleague, Jack, who's going to be doing the next set of introductions. The first of which is, I'd be remiss if I did not mention the support of the generous support of our sponsors who help make this program possible. We have an incredible group of sponsors who help underwrite this program and make it possible for us to make this available to thousands of students nationwide. So for all of our sponsors, thank you so much for your support. We rely on it to continue to keep this program going, and we could not do it without you. I also wanted to begin the process of getting some interaction with the students. And so what I want to do now is launch one of our polls that has a couple questions. You guys can feel free to answer those. We want to see where you're from, what grade you guys are in, learn a little bit more about you. So I'll go ahead and launch that now. And I'm also curious whether, if we have some high school seniors in the room, where you're all planning to go to college. And so if you've already made your decision about college for next year, you've got plans to go, feel free to let us know where you're going by using the Q&A function. Just type in the college that you'll be attending, and we'll shout out some of the results. We'll see if we have any potential future classmates here. So with that said, I will go ahead and hand this over to my colleague, Jack West, who's the Congressional Operations Coordinator here at the App Challenge. Jack's going to be doing the next set of introductions. Jack.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks to Congresswoman Chrissy Houlahan. It was great to work with her team. It was an excellent keynote, and we really appreciate her taking the time out today. But I want to say hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all to the members of Congress, congressional staff, our sponsors, and of course, all the students and their families for attending today. As Joe said, my name is Jack West. I'm the Congressional Operations Coordinator here at the Congressional App Challenge. This is my first House of Code that I've been a part of, and it's truly inspiring to see the ingenuity that all of the winners displayed in a year that's been marked by uncertainty and anxiety. On the congressional side, it's very refreshing to see a policy area that has gained extreme bipartisan support from all areas of the country. As you may know, we have 308 members of Congress that registered to participate this year. That was across 49 out of the 50 states, in addition to Guam, Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., and the Mariana Islands. And I'm really eager to see our growth in 2021, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'd like to thank all of the speakers and their staff. They've all been great to work with, and I'm really looking forward to hearing all of their keynotes as we go on through the night. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next 4 speakers, all of which have had a tremendous impact on the Congressional App Challenge. First will be Congresswoman Suzanne DelBene. Congresswoman Suzanne DelBene has been the representative from Washington's 1st Congressional District since 2012 and is the outgoing Democratic chair of the Congressional App Challenge. Congresswoman DelBene has served alongside Congressman French Hill as the co-chair of the App Challenge since 2018. Congresswoman DelBene brings a really unique voice to Washington with more than 2 decades of experience in tech and has been a business leader. We really thank Congresswoman DelBene and all of her staff for her work to really improve and grow the Congressional App Challenge over her time as co-chair. The second speaker will be Congressman French Hill. Congressman French Hill has served as a representative from Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District since 2015, and is the outgoing Republican chair of the Congressional App Challenge. Congressman Hill has been active in the Arkansas business community for about 2 decades now as a commercial banker and an investment manager. Previously, he was actually a senior official in the first Bush administration as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Corporate Finance. We thank Congressman Hill and his staff for all of his work to also continually improve and grow the Congressional App Challenge in his time as the co-chair. Third speaking will be Congresswoman Anna Eshoo from California's 18th District. Congresswoman Eshoo has represented that district since 1993. And in 2014, in bipartisan fashion, Congresswoman Eshoo helped to launch the Congressional App Challenge and has been really integral in its growth ever since. With more than 2 decades of experience in Congress, Congresswoman Eshoo has really broken barriers for women everywhere and serves as a real inspiration. With her recent appointment as the chair of the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health, she made history as the first woman to do so, and previously, she was the chair of this committee's subcommittee on communications and technology. We thank Congresswoman Eshoo for her continued work on the Congressional App Challenge and her role as the co-chair for the Congressional Internet Caucus, both of which we would not have the Congressional App Challenge without. And then finally, our 4th speaker over the next 10, 15 minutes will be Congressman Bruce Westerman. Congressman Bruce Westerman serves as a rep from Arkansas's 4th Congressional District. He's been so since 2015. Congressman Westerman has an extensive STEM background. He's graduated with a degree in biological and agricultural engineering from the University of Arkansas and a master's degree in forestry from Yale University. He was also named Engineer of the Year by the Arkansas Society of Professional Engineers in 2013. In Congress, Congressman Westerman serves on the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, and he serves as the ranking member on the Committee on Natural Resources. Additionally, he also serves on the Minority Whip team under House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. We thank Congressman Westerman for his continued support of the Congressional App Challenge, and I'd like to give a personal shout out for his University of Arkansas Razorbacks for making the Final Four. Congratulations. So congratulations again to all of our winners. Please enjoy the next 4 keynotes, and I will mute my microphone.
Hi, it's Susan. I'm excited to be here with you at this year's House of Code and to celebrate all of your hard work. House of Code is the nation's largest STEM competition showcase. And thanks to students like you, the Congressional App Challenge is currently the largest student app development contest of its kind in the world. This past year, over 6,500 students entered the challenge, and you blew us away with what you were able to accomplish. From identifying diseases in agricultural crops to teaching 3rd graders math, your apps smartly approach the challenges we face today as individuals and communities and reflect your commitment to making the world a better place. Before coming to Congress, I had a long career in technology, starting in the early days of email. I know firsthand how increasingly important coding skills and a STEM education are in our digital world. In the past 30 years, the number of jobs in STEM fields has jumped by 79%, and that number is increasing as we speak. There will be roughly 10 million STEM jobs by 2022, half of which will be in computer technology. But if we don't step up our game, we won't have enough computer science graduates to fill those positions. It's important that all students can develop the skills they need to have bright futures and to help make sure the United States remains an international leader in technology and innovation. That's why we need passionate innovators and entrepreneurs like you. Our economic future and capacity to face new challenges depends on your generation's ability to think outside the box. We need people who consistently can ask questions like, how can we use technology to solve this problem? As an example, the distancing app, the winning app for my district, was created as a direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Pierce, Siddharth, and Trung from Tesla STEM High School designed their app to make social distancing easier by alerting users when others get too close. By leveraging the power of technology, we can meet the moment to make our everyday lives easier and our communities safer. As you may have learned from competing in this challenge, coding is not always easy. You need determination, creativity, and hard work to execute projects like these. And I'm inspired by what you've accomplished already. Finally, I want to give a special shout out to all the young women who competed this past year. As a co-chair of the Women's High Tech Coalition, a personal passion of mine is to make sure more women get involved in STEM fields where they are hugely underrepresented. In the United States, only 18% of computer science degrees are earned by women, and that needs to change. We need to create a culture that sets you up to accomplish anything you set your mind to. And we must create opportunities for everyone to fall in love with coding. To all our applicants, thank you for sharing your work and creativity with us. Whether you've been coding for years or this was your first go at creating an app, I encourage you to stick with it. Keep collaborating with your peers, keep putting your ideas out there, and keep asking yourself and others, what's next? Congratulations on this incredible accomplishment. I look forward to seeing what you can do in the future. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the showcase.
All right, and up next we have Congressman French Hill.
This is Congressman French Hill, and it's time to congratulate all the students across the country that participated in Congress's Congressional App Challenge for 2021. 6,500 kids participated in our high schools across the country, and Arkansas leads the nation in STEM and STEAM activities, with Governor Hutchinson setting the curve by asking that both computer science and coding be taught in our high schools. So congratulations to all the students that participated across over 300 congressional districts. Today, I'm pleased to announce that Noah Taylor, a senior at Conway High School, is the winner for the Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District App Challenge. He decided to spur inspiration by use of an app, which is called Reaffirming Reminders. And the user can choose from hope, love, or wisdom for a daily dose of inspiration, or whenever you need it. So Noah, thanks for stepping up and being a leader in your high school for the Congressional App Challenge. Best wishes to all the students as we think about let's compete again this year.
Up next, Congresswoman Anna Eshoo.
My thanks to Joseph Alisi, Jack West, and the entire Internet Education Foundation team for your wonderful work to make the competition such a success. To my colleagues, Representatives Susan DelBene and French Hill, thank you for serving as co-chairs of the annual Congressional App Challenge. And greetings to all the students, the teachers, the parents that are joining us tonight at the House of Code event to celebrate your good work. I'm incredibly proud of the enormous success we've had with the Congressional App Challenge since I launched the competition in 2014. In 2020, in the midst of a global pandemic, 308 congressional districts participated in the App Challenge with over 6,500 students signing up to compete from across our country. Every student here representing a congressional district is fulfilling our vision in Congress to inspire, include, and innovate across the country to raise awareness around STEM, coding, and computer science education. Almost every story in the news today is about violence, the pandemic, economic injuries, but I'm here to tell you that I'm in the business of hope, and I think you are too. The students participating in the competition remind each of us about how important ideas are for our nation. Our framers shaped a nation not on religion, race, or ethnicity, but on ideas that keep renewing us. I'm proud to represent the 18th Congressional District in California, the innovation capital of our country, Silicon Valley. I received admissions to apps to record emotions for improved mental health, tools to keep off your devices, tutoring services for struggling students, and so many more. The winner in my district, Audrey Ha, and her app, Survey Hurricane, uses artificial intelligence to accurately and quickly identify damaged houses on aerial imagery of storm-impacted regions. Amid an incredibly challenging year, these students used their talents and resources to solve problems for others, remaining engaged, confident, and innovative in their genuine interest to solving the problems of our generation and theirs. So bravo to each of the students who participated in the 2020 Congressional App Challenge. Your ideas shape our collective future, and I congratulate each and every one of you.
All right. And lastly, for this section, we have remarks by Congressman Bruce Westerman.
Hello, everyone. I'm Congressman Bruce Westerman, representing Arkansas's 4th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. The Congressional App Challenge has always been one of my favorites. I'm looking forward to next year when we can do these events in person. But thank you for competing this year. You all are the future of innovation and technology in our country. It was America that produced the first car, the first airplane, the telephone, and countless other inventions. Our future depends on your innovation and ingenuity. I know that you will all do great things as you go off to college or to your future careers. But remember to always study, always to work hard, and always keep an eye out for the future and the things that you can do best. We're all behind you, and we really appreciate your work in the Congressional App Challenge.
All right, and with that, I will now be handing it over to Tim Lorden, who is the Executive Director of the Internet Education Foundation, the organization that launches and runs the Congressional App Challenge each year. So Tim, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. My name's Tim, and I'm the Executive Director of the Congressional App Challenge. And thank you for joining today, and thanks to all the members for participating, and all the shout outs to the girls who participated in the 2020 competition. So that's great. For this particular segment, want to introduce the next speaker, which is Congressman Rodney Davis from the 13th District of Illinois. It's no exaggeration to say that Rodney Davis is probably one of the most important members of Congress when it comes to the Congressional App Challenge. He sits as a ranking member on the Committee on House Administration, which authorizes the Congressional App Challenge. That committee also is responsible for putting up the display in the Capitol building that shows all of your apps for the entire year to people who walk the halls of Congress and do Congress's work in the Capitol building. So without Congressman Davis, there would be no Congressional App Challenge, and we are so grateful for him. As Joe mentioned, I'm the Executive Director of the Internet Education Foundation, which the Committee on House Administration, Congressman Davis, appoints to run the competition because it is so huge. And the House of Code, a 3-day computer science festival, is, as Congresswoman Del Bene said, the largest STEM showcase of computer science talent in the world. And these things take a lot of work. A lot of people went into it. And one of the most important people is Congressman Rodney Davis. And let me introduce Congressman, please.
Well, Tim, thank you so much. Joe, thanks again. And thanks to everybody here. Look, this is such a successful program that's operating within the House, but the folks that have been leading this event for you today, trust me, it wouldn't have happened without their leadership, without their effort, and without their advocacy coming to folks like me and our team to make sure we know how important this is to really train the next generation on how to move forward in STEM fields, how to be engaged civically, and also, how to actually figure out whether or not you want to participate in a competition. When we first started advocating for the Congressional App Challenge in my congressional district, I was just amazed at some of the products that came out of our high schools throughout central and southwestern Illinois. And as a matter of fact, I'm always inspired by mission statements. That's one thing that I've learned to appreciate as a member of Congress. And I'm really drawn and inspired by the mission statement that the Congressional App Challenge uses, and it's to inspire, include, and innovate efforts around STEM, coding, and computer science education. There's not better fields of study and more of need in this country to fill than what this Congressional App Challenge hopefully gets kids interested into the future that can have a tremendous impact on our future. I always enjoy going to schools pre-COVID and really congratulating, and in many cases, surprising the individuals who were named winners. And this year, our winner in the 13th District of Illinois is Trevin Van Hook from Normal, Illinois. And he created an app called the Fun Zone. I certainly hope I can get a chance to go see Trevin and the team that always participates at Normal West Community High School in Normal, Illinois. In 2020, we had 308 offices compete in the App Challenge with over 6,500 students that signed up to compete. This is the largest student app development of any kind in the world, and it's designed to inspire each and every one of you to pursue careers in STEM and computer science. Proud to be a part of it, but I'm also proud to say that in my district, we have many different opportunities for those of you who are engaged in this process to come study further. Come to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and work with their iSTEM initiative. Go find a spot at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Look at the opportunities with our University of Illinois Research Park. Also, where my kids are studying in college right now, Illinois State University. Their Center for Mathematics, Science, and Technology is second to none. In Bloomington Normal, the same area that Trevin is from, they have a STEM initiative with STEM education partnership within the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council, McLean County schools, and local businesses. But if you want to stay close to the St. Louis area, come across a river and visit our Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville STEM Center. But I do want to end by saying this. Again, thank you to Joe, thank you to Tim and the entire team. But you learn a great deal when you go meet the students who may not have won the challenge. But I always go visit those who place second and those who place third. And just last year, before the pandemic hit, I visited my own high school, Taylorville High School in Taylorville, Illinois. And I got a chance to meet a young man by the name of Ben Thompson. Ben, he put together an app that placed second in our app challenge in 2020. And what I didn't know at the time before I met Ben is that I went to school with his parents. And I also didn't know he was joining the military to be able to afford to pursue a STEM education and a computer science education in the future. And while I was talking to Ben, a young student I just met, I informed him of the opportunities at our military academies. He went out after that and decided to apply to go to the Air Force Academy. And you know what? Just a few weeks ago, I was proud to not only offer him a nomination from our office to the Air Force Academy, I was proud to give him a call to let him know that the Air Force Academy wanted him to be a student, wanted him to be a cadet. He was overjoyed. His family was overjoyed, as was I. But those are the types of relationships that we are, as members of Congress, are able to build upon and learn from too. So we're learning just as much from each and every one of you. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to work with you. Good luck in your future. Good luck to the Congressional App Challenge. And good luck to the team. Tim, thanks for your kind words. And Joe, I'm going to turn it right back to you, my friend.
All right. Congressman Davis, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for the great remarks. It's really, as you said, so exciting to have an opportunity to visit and to meet with some of these students. And some of the second and third place apps every year really go on to impress us. You know, I know from our side, we've worked directly with some of the students who've placed second and third in the past to help us develop back-end pieces of our website, help us improve our mobile apps. And so really an incredible group of students. And, you know, I know we're just honoring the winners, the first place winners today, but all of our app challengers are really incredible. And we're so proud of everything that they've accomplished thus far. So thank you again, Congressman Davis, for the remarks. And now we will go ahead and turn things over to one of our alumni advisory board members, whose name is Charlie Liu. Before we do that, I just want to quickly go back over some of the questions that we were looking at. I know we asked previously for our high school seniors. I see we got a lot of them out there today. Let us know where you're going to college. We'll shout out some of the answers. We'll get to as many as we can. I see Jacob Heffington is going to be attending Arkansas Tech University next year. That's very exciting. James Bish is heading to Case Western or RIT, Rensselaer. And then Michael Batavia is heading to Columbia, NYU, or SUNY Stony Brook, which are all amazing schools. So if we've got more high school seniors out there and you guys know where you're going to school, let us know and we'll shout you out. In the meantime, also, if you want to let us know what you guys have been working on recently, how the Congressional App Challenge has inspired you, go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. Let us know what the Congressional App Challenge has inspired you to do, and we'll shout out some of the best answers in between the segments. So with that, I will go ahead and hand this to Charlie. Charlie, are you there?
Yep, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, take it away.
Hey, everyone. My name is Charlie, and like Joe said, I'm a member of the Congressional App Challenge Alumni Advisory Board. I participated in the App Challenge in 2018, and I'm currently studying computer science at Yale. It is my pleasure to introduce Morgan Reed, who is the president of ACT, the App Association, which is a key sponsor of the Congressional App Challenge. He is a respected expert on the intersection of government and technology, and Morgan strives to give a voice to small technology companies through the App Association. Morgan, thank you so much for your support for the App Challenge, and I'd love to hand it over to you now.
Hi, I'm Morgan Reed, president of ACT, and I'm excited to join you, virtually of course, to celebrate the amazing work you've done as part of the Congressional App Challenge and its House of Code competition. Obviously, it would be much better if we could be in person to check out your amazing innovations, but thanks to technology like the stuff that our members create, and hopefully someday you will as well, we can at least be together in this virtual space. Our members include everyone from app developers to technologists to security experts, and they live all over the United States, well, the world really, and touch every facet of the app economy. And speaking of our members, who better to talk about the amazing innovations that you've all done than the people who helped create the app economy as we know it today?
Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Miller. I am based in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm the program director for this amazing program called SC Code. And SC Codes is a nonprofit that is committed to providing free coding education for anyone in the state of South Carolina.
Hello, everyone. I am Khanna Stewart. I'm the CEO and principal consultant of Global Force Tech Consulting, which is a software development and technology consulting company. I'm also the president of Global Force for Girls, which is a 501c3 nonprofit that works with young girls and women to teach them, to empower them, to teach them, educate them about the STEM workforce development.
I'm Greg Haygood, obviously here in Atlanta. I've got a small development shop called Southern DNA that I co-founded about 4 years ago now. And we help small and medium businesses in Atlanta try to get more out of technology. So whether it's giving them a website, giving them an app, taking paper processes and making them digital and more efficient, that's kind of what we focus on.
My name is Chris Sims. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sagayo Studios. We're located in Birmingham, Alabama. We do similar to what Greg does. We do custom software development, but we also do agile coaching and training.
And just like you, they hit the ground running.
You know, don't be afraid to take risks when you're younger.
Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it, and do the hard thing.
Because we know that you and our members are not just app developers. You're creative problem solvers who are part of the solution.
Think about what problems you can solve.
I didn't go out and solve my own problems. I lucked into my first job was with a marketing agency, and we were solving other people's problems. They would come to us and say, I don't know how to do X. You know, I'm trying to do this. I'm running into problems. And I thrived on solving those problems.
I think the important part when you're involved in a technological environment is to really see yourself as a part of that process, right? So a lot of times we think of ourselves as an extension of it, but not as a component of it.
You know, you spend hours and hours and hours fighting and struggling with the code, trying to get it to do what it wants. And then you have that moment when it comes through and it clicks and you get it and it works and you solve this really big, hard problem.
And developers, as well as folks from the App Association, know what it takes to create technology. From the technical stuff.
Also, like if you have no idea even where to start from a coding language perspective, if you have a phone and you really like the way that your phone works, figure out like, is it an iPhone? Is it an Android phone? Something like that. And then go check out the platform. So Google iOS development and see what kind of services they offer. Because a lot of times they offer their own coding language, something that's like pretty simple and scalable for that platform. And it kind of gives you a cool starting place, right? So you can kind of just create something initially and then figure out where you want to go from there.
JavaScript is a language. It's a whole ecosystem as well. That's the one that's got all the interest and all the buzz these days.
Just learn one. The reality behind programming languages is once you learn one and you learn how the constructs work, the next one is easier and the next one's easier.
To sound business advice.
Don't try to build the Facebook of apps from day one. Build something that enables, you know, some friends to talk to each other and then start layering on to it.
To some pretty good instincts.
I got started in tech in high school when I broke my parents' computer. Had to figure out how to fix it. Got into computers from there. At college, my computer lab that I worked in was doing a lot of work on this new thing called the World Wide Web. And I fell in love with it and decided that was what my career was going to be all about.
And the soft skills.
I've had many of these employers say, if they don't know our specific tech stack, A-okay. But I want to make sure that they are going to work well with, people who are from all kinds of different backgrounds, who may be technical, who may be not technical. Are they going to show up on time? Just those basic things are extremely important. And if you don't have those with the technical skills, it'll only get you so far.
So I think being an active listener, in addition to that, being a great communicator, being able to, take information and synthesize it and analyze it and then process that and present it back out, to your clients or to whomever you're speaking with about their technology needs. I would say those two are definitely skills that, are necessary being in this space and environment.
To the practical, kind, and inclusive.
Team building, working with each other, sharing ideas, innovating together, all of those are attributes that I think help to enhance technology and help to enhance us as individuals as we're learning and growing and developing in technology as well.
So Scrum is a process to develop, to work, and to manage projects that focuses on humans first, values first, and learning how to be really, really efficient and get better over time. So this process of if you're not better today than you were yesterday and tomorrow than you are today, then you're going to fall behind. But pushing yourself with focusing on that human in the center.
Our members show up because we know it's everyone's responsibility to create a stronger, more diverse community of developers.
So we know that there are definitely diversity issues within the tech industry. And so what we're doing is working with Black and brown young women and girls to really educate them, to empower them, and to train them to be able to not only have those really solid technical skills, but to also develop a sense of of belonging and understanding about how to use those skills and talents once they're actually in a STEM career, right? As a mentor in residence and instructor in the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at GW, I have a lot of opportunity to interface with some really bright, amazing, smart, talented young women who, when they saw me, would say, you know, we don't see ourselves, right? We don't see ourselves reflected. We're in offices and classrooms and engaging with predominantly men. And so we're just excited to have you to hear.
Literally the last month, I worked with someone on every continent except Antarctica. So global awareness. So no longer is it okay to be in a small town and not understand what it's like to work with someone in China or with India, and understanding the cultural differences that come in there, because that's a very normal part of where the world is going to, and I think it's only going to get more.
As to the old stereotypes about coders, we don't subscribe to those.
No longer do we have programmers are hidden in the basement, and they're the trolls that everyone's afraid to go down to the basement and fight. That's not the way it is anymore. It's very much a group communal effort, and I love that aspect of it.
But we couldn't talk about all the good without talking about what threatens our industry the most.
We fully believe that one of the largest risks to the future of the American economy is nothing other than our inability to build great tech talent.
Thankfully, we have programs like the Congressional App Challenge and students like you who can continue to drive innovation and change our industry. Thank you to all the sponsors, friends, and participants who made this year's event possible and made it as amazing as it is. Without you, we wouldn't have the best thing about our industry, our members, the developers, and you.
One of the many cool things about being in the tech space is just all the wonderful people you get to meet, and around the world, literally around the world, getting to meet just amazing people and work with them and help them.
On behalf of ACT and our members, thank you.
Okay, that was awesome. We love working with ACT. They're an incredible organization. Morgan, incredible comments, and their team did a great job putting together that video package celebrating the winners of the Congressional App Challenge. Many of those clips came from our back to school webinar series that took place last fall. And if you're interested, the full video, that full interview that you saw some clips from, are available through our YouTube channel. So if that's something that interests you, if you want to hear more from some of those speakers, feel free to go and check that out. So with that said, let's go ahead and check in on the Q&A form. I'm seeing some really great quotes come in about how the App Challenge has inspired you. I'm going to hold on those for a little bit longer. And so if you've got a great story about how the App Challenge has inspired you, feel free to drop that in the Q&A box. I've also got some more universities here. I see Ian McDonald is attending the College of William and Mary for computer science. We'd love to see that you'll be studying computer science at a great school. It's very exciting, Ian. And then I see Julia is attending UC Berkeley next year. UC Berkeley holds a special place in our program's heart. We work very closely with UC Berkeley and their Cal in the Capital program, and they've brought us amazing interns over the past few years that have helped to really improve this program. So enjoy your time at UC Berkeley, and if you're looking for an internship in the future, obviously we'd potentially love to host you here. So with that, I'm going to go and turn this over to Meta Gupta, who is another member of our Alumni Advisory Board and a previous App Challenger as well. Meta, are you here?
Yeah.
Hey, Meta, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us. I know you're going to do an introduction here, and so I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe. Hi, everyone. My name is Medha Gupta, and I'm a 2017 Congressional App Challenge winner from Virginia, current sophomore at New York University studying computer science, and a current member of the Congressional App Challenge Alumni Advisory Board. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin. Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin is a graduate of Howard University and received his commission through Air Force ROTC Detachment 130. Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin has served as a cyberspace operations officer for 15 years, completing tours in network defense with the Defense Information Systems Agency, network exploitation with the National Security Agency, offensive cyberspace operations with United States Cyber Command, and multiple deployments supporting the 101st Airborne Division at Bagram Air Base, Afghanistan, and USS OCOM in Oman, Jordan. He's currently working cadet admissions for the second year of the JROTC Cyber Academy and will begin squadron command at Keesler AFB this summer. Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to hear fun things you've done. So thank you for doing that. On that same note, I also like to give a thank you to Jack West and Joe Alessi for inviting me to be a part of this. This is truly awesome. I'm ashamed that I didn't know that it existed until about 2 months ago, but I'm extremely happy to be a part of it. While I'm throwing out thank yous, they may not be with us, but Representative Houlahan, awesome fellow airman, thank you to her for her service, and Representative Davis for making more airmen. It's truly awesome. You'll see if you ever run into an airman, we're a proud bunch, and we like to see more of us come about. So awesome. But the focus of why I'm here, first of all, to say congratulations to the winners of the Congressional App Challenge from their respective districts. I think it's awesome that you're involved, and I'd like to give you, if you will indulge me, just a few tips that I think could help you continue to be successful. Clearly, you're already on a good path, and I'd be happy to maybe give you something that may be good. So tip number one I'll share with you is always know who you're talking to. So, context is everything. So for me to just spit words at your ideas doesn't mean too much. So I'd like to just tell you a little bit about my background. I'm in a very, very rare group of people. My parents were both educators. My dad was an AP computer science teacher as well as AP calculus when I was in high school and continued that. So I had a slightly different vantage point of what computing was and what coding was, because it was just a natural part of my everyday life. Literally speaking, it put food on the table. For most of you, I'm guessing that wasn't the case. So kudos to you for your curiosity and your completely, I think self-driven interest to drive you to be a part of this, because I think that's absolutely incredible. I'd also, have to mention the fact that I'm in the Air Force, and I love that as well. And thankfully, the Air Force is a great place to marry up an interest in cyber and also an interest in which is huge. So I noticed that some of the apps that were generated were you're trying to support your fellow students, you're trying to make things a little bit better. And I think that really at the core, that's what we're trying to do in the military. That's kind of the core of our service. So you guys are already on a good track to helping out the country. And you probably didn't even know it yet, but kudos to you. So I have to be really, really honest with you guys. I was a little bit nervous, and gals, I was a little bit nervous for multiple reasons. I had multi-pronged levels of nervous, with the first one being, oh my gosh, I'm going to give my name and face to all these people that do development work. If they want to hack me or go against me, I won't even stand a chance. I mean, these dudes, these folks are really talented, and here I am talking to them. I hope I don't say anything wrong. But then after seeing the group and the amount of effort that you put into the apps and the nature and the feel of really trying to be helpful, it kind of put that concern a little bit at ease. It's a bit dangerous that I scroll through your submissions when I did, because as a cyber dude myself, so full background, I was actually a political science major undergrad, and then did a master's in security later on after working in the Air Force. I was just completely dumbfounded and pretty humbled by a lot of the winning submissions that I saw just from your 1 to 3 minute video clips. So that's awesome. The American in me says, I'm happy that you folks are part of our, that you guys are on our team. The airman in me says, man, it'd be really cool if we could tap into that talent. And I think that's a super awesome opportunity. So what we collectively as American citizens, and I think this has already been referenced by a couple of folks, is we need to close the gap. We need to narrow the deficit of computing and IT jobs that we have in our country. Clearly, you folks are on the right path. So maybe I'm preaching to the wrong ones, but I would say tell your friends, bring folks along with you, because that'll help make our job that much easier. The reason that we need you to be good, we need you to start, which you already have, and we need you to be good. It kind of goes to my background a little bit, which Ms. Gupta was kind enough to tell you. I've worked in defensive cyber operations, and the key thing between both of those, the reason that both of those roles are just opposite sides of the same coin, they're all based on how good of a developer you are. Okay, so if you're a good developer and I do defensive cyber operations, you make my job really easy. If you're an okay developer, then you make my job a little bit harder, because if there are mistakes in your code, they flush out as vulnerabilities to bad guys. And like I said, unfortunately or fortunately, the opposite side of that coin is that's also the enablement for offensive cyber operations as well. So what I would really like the most, and if I can give you a message or some motivation for tip number 2, it's to really, really hone and perfect your craft, because you are the reason that cyber defense exists, that cyber offense exists, and that this entire infrastructure is an environment, is a domain for us to exist in. So thank you for that. And again, I'm super happy that you're on the right path. So I'll just pass you a few more things before I leave. And this can apply to you as a future developer. This can apply to you as a future business person, as a future artist, whatever you count yourself as. I would 100% suggest that you continue to both feed your technical side and your technical development, but also feed your creative side. So if you decide to be a developer, then I absolutely need you to be very, very good at your data sanitization. Don't make holes in your code, in your memory allocation. Don't leave easy targets. Or do another bit of development again, and someone asks you to do this challenge and you see it, I hope at the very least it gave you a perspective of how to be a better user, because clearly no matter what, users are always the weakest link in our security chain. So if you're dev, be good. If you're just a user and you don't develop another thing, be knowledgeable. And regardless, keep being creative and keep putting time into it. And in the process of doing that, I will give you just a few more tips before I sign off. The first one is super fun. Be extremely selfish, all right? Be very selfish. Be extremely selfish with your time and where you choose to spend it, and hold yourself accountable to when you're doing what you're doing. Whether you're playing video games and you're trying to get better and you deem that a successful use of time, awesome. Or whether you're pounding your head against the table, one little bit of code to work, realize that you're scoping yourself and your talents to one thing, and you never get that time back. So be selfish with your time. Don't do things that are silly. If you find yourself in a conversation with someone and you think that it may be a slight waste of time, I'm hoping I don't start to see the participants dip as I make this comment, and you start to feel that maybe it's not an effective use of your time, okay, good, it's still staying the same, then don't run away from it. Recoup that time by being engaging, and this will actually kind of lead me to my second point, which is as much as you can, as many opportunities as you get, use people. Absolutely, use them for all that you can. And what I really mean by that is engage and get the perspective of others and incorporate it into your own. Whether keep the good stuff, keep the bad stuff as the illustration of what not to do. So this applies to your academics, applies to your social sense. Be a citizen. Don't be, as was previously mentioned, don't be the coder in the basement with the hoodie on, eating Cheetos and drinking Mountain Dew. To be honest, I've seen the real life version of that in previous jobs, and I absolutely love those guys because they're so good at what they do. But I'm also happy that we're starting to break the mold. It doesn't have to be that. If you choose to make it that, then fine, but it doesn't have to be, and that's awesome. In the process of using people, that goes multiple ways. You need to find mentors, find people, and this is an airman talking. Find people who have done what you want to do or have interest in what you want to do, and latch onto them. So the initial poll question that everyone was asked to participate in was with the hope that you'll future classmates. I would highly suggest that you scroll down the list of winning apps and just take mental note of those names. Or, social media is pretty big these days, I'm told. Connect with the folks that you see from whatever state that have been successful in the same thing that you're doing. Okay, that's helpful. That's how you build a network. It takes a network to defeat a network. That's how you start to build yours. And that just does nothing but make you better. As you do that, you have peer mentors. Eventually, you're going to have the opportunity to find more senior mentors, whether they be senior in age or just senior in experience, and latch on to that too. And again, this is still falling under the tip of, use people. Don't be afraid to engage with people, but then also don't be afraid to give back. And I think what you'll see is once you've received those benefits from your peers, and you receive those benefits from folks senior to you, it'll be bursting. You'll be bursting at the seams to give it back. And the very last tip, which I'll tell you is completely my favorite, it is be lazy. All right. In all things, you should be looking for the most efficient way to accomplish what you're doing. If you're writing code and you find yourself repeating with little variation the same few lines of code because you refuse to use a loop, or you don't want to use the appropriate data structure or function to get what you need to get done efficiently, then you're making a mistake. Don't do that. All right. And the grand scheme of being lazy, things that help that are knowing what you're good at. Don't be afraid to not be good at something, pursue it, But the thing that is going to be really helpful is when you see where your star of abilities points, and wherever that may be, follow it, okay? Because that's when you breed efficiency. That's when you're more than likely, if you're good at something, you're going to keep, and that cycle is just going to feed itself. And that's what allows you to do things simply that other people take a lot of time to do, or a lot of manual grunt work labor to do. We don't want that. We don't want to put you in that mental space. As a leader in the Air Force, I need the folks that work around me for me, and also the folks that I work for, to constantly be looking at better ways to do things. And that applies easily in life, you know it inherently, but then it manifests itself 100% when you're coding, because you don't want to waste time recoding something or making life harder for yourself. With that, I'll stay on for a bit. If there are any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and I'm happy to answer them. But again, be selfish, be lazy, use people. Okay, look for mentors, be efficient, and be very, very careful with your time. And those things, you set yourself up well for continued success. Again, you've conquered the app challenge for your respective districts, but you set yourself up well to be a citizen of the country, a citizen of the world. You happen to keep tech path, that's awesome too, because I like to consider myself on a good day nerd. You get to be part of the nerd family, so that's cool too. Again, thank you to Jack, and thank you to Joe. I'm going to pass it back over to you. I'll still be on for a little bit, so if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. But otherwise, thanks for letting me be here, and congratulations to everybody.
All right. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for joining us. It was really great, and some incredible insights there. I've got a question for you as we wait for some others to come in the Q&A chat. Obviously, service has been a major part of your career, and you hinted at this, hoping to try to get some students involved in that. If you had to pitch why some of these high school students who are looking to looking at colleges and trying to figure out what they want to do professionally, if you had to pitch them on why they maybe should become an airman and what kind of future would exist there, what would you tell them?
Well, it depends on how much time you got. I don't know how much time you got, but I would say, first and foremost, this is, I love my service. I'm not speaking on behalf of the entire Air Force with this comment or my other ones, but I can say from a very personal sense, and from the sense who I think has shared interests with many of our participants, the pitch is easy. Airmen, we love education. We love learning. We love putting folks in position to continue to develop themselves and get skills. In case you're not aware, we've made changes within the military to make it more palatable for folks to pop in for a few years, get experience that they wouldn't otherwise get. Like many of the jobs I've had that I'm proudest of would be illegal for me to do as a civilian. So that's really cool. You have opportunities to do those things. You have opportunities to have those skills and that talent development paid for. And I would find a hard reason, if you just know that you want to be in the coding realm completely, because we will ask you to do some things that are outside the coding realm at times, because that's what we do. Unless you just know you want to be there 100% and you don't want to go anywhere else, if you have some flex in your interest, then I would absolutely give a good recommendation for Air Force life, both for the culture and the opportunities.
Awesome. I have another question that came in here. It's about how has the importance of computer science changed in the Air Force over your time there, or maybe over the last 15 or 20 years?
Oh, wow. I'll try to be brief. When I joined, I was a comm officer. So my primary responsibility was, making sure the network, the computers work, making sure the LAN worked, but also making sure the radios were good. And we also had satellite SATCOM that fell under us and some other stuff. And over the 15 years that I've been in, it's gone from being hey, we fix your printers, we fix your phones, we fix your communications, to now we're in operational, we fight in the cyber domain, we defend the cyber domain. The importance of computer science has really always been there. There's always been a place for the computer scientists, but now what we're really seeing is the degree is awesome, right? We love it when people have the degree, but the folks who are doing the most nitty gritty, and I would say exciting, the only job I've had where I wake up in the night thinking about the mission and thinking about what I have to do the next day and being a little bit concerned to go punch a keyboard. The folks that are really doing the mission that are in the thick of it then, for the most part, were not college grads. They were folks that were extremely talented. They were folks who worked extremely hard, and I have no doubt would be able to go through that curriculum. But for whatever reason, they got into their respective services, and we put them through an extremely grueling training process to get them to the point where they could do that. So computer science as a concept has been equally as important. Computer science as a degree there's debate. I'll just say there's debate, because the people who are talented and passionate will show themselves regardless.
Awesome. I'm not sure how much more time you have. I do have another few questions that have come in here if you want to take those.
No, absolutely. I'm on your time. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So Ali asked, how is AI being implemented in the Air Force to advance efficiency?
Oh, wow. So I wish that I could give an educated answer on that. I know that it's there. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we have a good bit of teams working both with private sector and with our academic partners to develop that, but I do not have any specific examples of the application. But I'm happy to say confidently that it's there and worked.
All right, and I've got a question that's a little bit away from computer science here.
All right.
Arish asks, do you fly planes?
Man, so I don't. And if you want to fly planes, please don't let the fact that I don't fly planes stop you. I was extremely lucky to be part of a cadet program when I was in high school that allowed me to do a lot of flying, and it taught me that, hey, I'm actually not big of a fan of flight, but I love the culture of the Air Force. So because of that, I made the decision that I would go in as a non-pilot. But that's extremely lucky, because it's been wonderful. There's so many opportunities that I've gotten. There's so many opportunities that are out there actually now for all of you folks to include programs like JRTC, or programs like there's a nonprofit, Computer Science for All, that is doing a full force effort to say, hey, there's STEM jobs. There are a lot of STEM jobs out there, and if you want to fly, that's cool. But institutions like the ones I mentioned are there to make sure across the country there's more opportunities for you to do computer science, AP computer science in one form or another, or get to do cool cyber activities. So did not fly, but there's so many other opportunities to serve and be an airman.
Awesome. I've got just one more question for
Cool.
you. Well, first I've got a comment. We had a team in the audience who wanted to say that they felt like they learned so much from your insights, experience, and tips, and they wanted to thank you for joining us today. Certainly, we echo that sentiment here at the App Challenge. It's really been incredible to have you, and it's great to be working with you on this. I had a question from Bryce, who asked, we've talked a little bit about the past when it comes to computer science. How do you think computer science field will change in the near future?
Oh, so. And this is truly my personal opinion. The computer science, again, as a formal discipline, has and it was mentioned before, and I'm happy they mentioned it. Once you know one language, once you know one platform and how to manipulate it, you don't know them all automatically, but you can learn them all. I think the barrier that we have now is folks that feel like they have to be in this paradigm of formalized education to get to the goals that they want to do in cyber or in computing in general. And I would say that the change will be that that's just not the case. There are too many avenues of learning, whether it be YouTube, Coursera, any number of other mass online learning things that will allow you to learn that snippet of development that you want to do. Hey, I know I just want to be a user experience designer. I know that that's a thing that I want to do and I'm interested in. And I'm pretty sure that if I'm good at it and I have a good artistic eye for it, I can do it. Well, guess what? You can have a program that's specifically designed to do that. So when you go to an interview for a position, there's me and there's, and I've specialized in user experience design, and there's someone who has an awesome comp sci degree. We're kind of on equal footing because it makes sense, potentially for you to hire me based on the specific set of skills I've had. That's, computer science as a formal program is awesome for credibility. As Representative Houlahan mentioned, even in her day-to-day decision-making, there's not a day that she doesn't fall back on her engineering background. And I 100% think that the systems design approach that you get from computer science is the same, but the change will be you can still eat, you can still work and be an asset to a company and to the country, even if you don't have that.
Awesome. Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your remarks. It's really been great to hear from you. And I know you've been inspiring students, inspiring us as well. So thank you for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks again for the invite. I love it.
Absolutely. We hope to see you again next year.
Sure.
All right. So we are now waiting on Representative Khanna, who's going to be joining us for some live remarks. He's just running a little bit behind schedule, but will be joining us in just a few minutes. For now, I would like to turn it over to Tim Lorden, who is going to talk a little bit about how far the App Challenge has come in the past few years. He's been with the program since the beginning, one of the architects of the program, and he can speak to the experience of building this program and building it into the enormous and incredible competition it is today. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Tim again. Tim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Joe.
Awesome.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. This portion of the program you could call the civics lesson. And because what we're doing right now is using a parliamentary rule in the Senate called the filibuster. And what we're doing is maybe providing some speeches while we wait on a member of Congress to come back from another meeting that he's coming to us for. So we're waiting on Congressman Khanna from California. But in the meantime, I just want to say a few civics related issues. Number one is that we're filibustering. And number two is that while Joe said that I made this competition as huge as it is, it's not true. I'd love to take credit for it, but the fact is that the strength of the competition is that this year, 310 members of the House of Representatives signed up to host a competition in their congressional district. Each one of the winners is from a specific congressional district in the United States. And it's not just districts that are in major urban tech centers like Boston, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, California, Khanna's district, which is San Jose, or Washington, D.C. Rather, a third of congressmen that host competitions are from generally rural districts. And oftentimes competitions like this don't reach those districts. Each member of Congress, there's about 320 million Americans. And because we're in a representational democracy, each member of Congress has a district that represents 700,000 or so of them. So your district has 700,000 roughly citizens in it. So the winners of the Congressional App Challenge for each one of those districts is the winner of that district, which represents 700,000 people. It is so huge because there are members that are very rural that represent districts like Northeastern Mississippi or the 4 members of the Arkansas delegation in Congress. That is why this competition is so huge, is because these members have chosen to try to inspire their specific constituents in their district to participate. And as Congressman Houlahan mentioned, and Sally Ride's statement, which is, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So hopefully the idea that you can code an app, win your district's competition, and have your app displayed in the US Capitol building, hopefully that'll inspire even more of you in the future. So if you could help us spread the word and help the members spread the word in your communities, among upcoming students, maybe that are younger than you, that this is a great thing to do. It's a really great thing to put on your resume. The fact is that this is the most prestigious prize in student computer science. When you become an adult, you can try to win the Turing Award, which is pretty awesome. But if there's a more prestigious student computer science prize out there, we have not seen it and we have researched it. So congratulations to all of you. But let me just turn it back over to Joe, who's going to introduce our next speaker.
All right, Tim, thank you so much. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really incredible insight and advice there. I'm actually going to be passing it over to one of our favorite supporters of the program, Apple, who's been a long time supporter of the program and supporter of computer science education in general, to introduce our next speaker. And so I will go ahead and turn it over quickly to our friends at Apple to do the introduction. And then after that, we'll be hearing from Representative Khanna.
Good evening. I'm Alexis Marks-Mosher with Apple. For more than 40 years, Apple has worked alongside educators and made products that enhance learning for every student, including products and curriculum to support students learning to code. As students look ahead to their future careers, coding continues to be a foundational skill that embodies creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and problem solving. Learning to code helps students build these skills and brings opportunities, no matter what career they pursue. That is why Apple invested in creating free and comprehensive coding curriculum and professional learning for schools from elementary to higher education, and why we've partnered with educators across the country to ensure that they have the tools to share these resources with their students. We've seen firsthand how coding has transformed the global economy, creating entire new industries and supporting millions of jobs. The iOS app economy alone now supports more than 2.1 million jobs across all 50 states, helping to provide opportunities for Americans of all ages. We see this continuing to grow, creating boundless opportunities for today's students. Apple was pleased to support the Congressional App Challenge again this year. Congratulations to all of the students who participated. Keep on inspiring us with your ideas to solve community challenges. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Apple's hometown representative, Ro Khanna. Congressman Khanna sits on the House Committees on Agriculture, Armed Services, and Oversight and Reform, where he chairs the Environmental Subcommittee. Prior to serving in Congress, Congressman Khanna taught economics at Stanford University and law at Santa Clara University. He wrote the book Entrepreneurial Nation: Why Manufacturing is Still Key to America's Future, and worked as a lawyer specializing in intellectual property law. Rep. Khanna served in President Barack Obama's administration as Deputy Assistant Secretary at the U.S. Department of Commerce. Congressman Khanna has been a tremendous supporter of the Congressional App Challenge, and we're so happy to have him here today. Congressman Khanna, over to you.
All right, and we've got Representative Khanna here. Let's see, we've got him joined. We just have to wait for his audio to pick up. We're about a year into this virtual space pandemic. I don't have to tell the students in attendance that, as they've been working through what classrooms, remote classrooms look like and how difficult that has been. And so, obviously we know that technical hiccups happen. It looks like we may have lost Congressman Khanna from our session. And so it seems like he may be having some technical difficulties. What we'll go ahead and do is, as soon as he's ready, we will welcome him back to the session. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and we will move to the next set of speeches. So with that, I want to go ahead and Jack, are you with us? Are you ready to go for the next set of introductions?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everybody. I believe we might have had some technical difficulties with Congressman Khanna, but we thank him and we hopefully see him in a few minutes. But I am going to introduce our next three speakers, all three of which have had a great impact on the Congressional App Challenge and have helped us out tremendously. So first up will be Congressman John Katko. Congressman John Katko represents New York's 24th Congressional District, the Syracuse area of New York. Previously, before becoming a congressman in 2015, Congressman Katko was an assistant United States attorney who led the Organized Crime Division at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Syracuse. Currently, Congressman Katko serves on the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure and is ranking member on the Committee on Homeland Security. This is actually going to be Congressman Katko's first time speaking at House of Code, but we have worked with him in the past as he has done some of our other conferences as well. We thank him so much for his support of the App Challenge and his continued work in the cybersecurity field. Next up will be Congressman Jared Huffman. Congressman Huffman represents the 2nd Congressional District in California, right above San Francisco. He has been that representative since 2013. Prior to serving in Congress, Representative Huffman served in the California State Assembly. He currently sits on the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure and the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis. He also chairs the Subcommittee on Water, Oceans, and Wildlife. He's very big on the environment, and we thank him for all of his work. We thank Congressman Huffman for his continued support of the Congressional App Challenge and the excellent apps that his district provides. And then finally, we'll have Congresswoman Dina Titus. Congresswoman Titus represents the Las Vegas area of Nevada, the 1st Congressional District. She is a proud member of the House Committees on Transportation Infrastructure and Foreign Affairs, and also Homeland Security. She's been a very long time supporter of the Congressional App Challenge, and we thank her a lot for all of her support and all of her work. So without further ado, Joe, if you'd like to, actually, I believe we may have Congressman Khanna here. Let's just see if we can get him on.
Yeah, he seems to have reappeared. Congressman Khanna, if you can hear us, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, my video is disabled, and then the link that they sent me didn't work.
I think Jack can fix the video issue for you, so you should be able to turn on your video now.
Okay, great. Yeah, sorry about that. I went to another one, and they sent me a link, and that didn't take me anywhere. So,
well, thank you so much for joining us, working through the technical difficulties.
I'll
go ahead and I know your time's
faith
precious,
in the
so.
Next generation of app developers, hopefully we'll have we need new apps the guy, I'm a big fan of Zoom, and a big story about how we didn't let the founder come to the United States 8 times, and it took a 9th try before we let him come to America. And so, but I am very excited to be here. I appreciate all the talent for apps, and I'll keep my remarks short. I would just say that we're facing the digitization of the economy. App development is no longer the playground of San Francisco or the Bay Area. App development is something that's going to transform every industry, whether it's digital design and construction, whether it is manufacturing, robotics and AI, whether it's telehealth, whether it's entertainment with Bandshop or TikTok or YouTube. You literally have the digital transformation of our economy. And you will have an enormous role to play in how we do that. And what I will encourage you, because you've already won one of the most prestigious challenges, you're going to help lead this new innovation economy. I have no doubt about that, if you already have such incredible talent. But what I would ask of you is, as you progress in your career, to remember issues of values, to think through what is it that are the equity considerations as we develop these apps? How is it that we can make sure that every part of the country gets to equally benefit from the digital revolution? How is it that we can make sure that we don't become too susceptible to automation, where we're losing jobs without thinking of fulfillment and good jobs for the future for everyone? How do we make sure that we don't automate to the point where we're depriving people of agency and autonomy, as is happening in certain parts of our workforce? The issues of technology are the substratum of society, but ultimately what makes a society is not technology, it's values. And the question for our time is, how do we take the enormous innovation and put it in service of ideals that make us a better democracy? So you have shown exceptional promise. You are at the vanguard of innovation and leading our economy. I want to congratulate you and just take a moment to pause on the enormous achievement. I mean, you have Apple Computers, a leading innovative company, recognizing that achievement, and all of Congress recognizing that achievement. Your family should be very proud. And then think about yourself already as a leader, as someone who knows more than 0.01% of the population about the new technology, and your role and responsibility in our democracy to help make sure that our values, decent values, humane values, help guide the new digital revolution. Congratulations. I look forward to your leadership. Thank you for what you have done and the leadership you've already shown.
Representative Khanna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry for the snafu, and glad we made it work.
Yeah, it's great to have a chance to have you speak to the students. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so we will go and we'll move on here. I know Jack did some great introductions for our next speakers. Up next is Representative John Katko, and I will go ahead and get to his speech now.
Good evening, everyone. This is Representative John Katko, Ranking Member of the House Committee on Homeland Security. I just want to take a moment to congratulate you on winning the 2020 Congressional App Challenge. More than 6,000 students from across the country participated in the challenge this year, and you've stood out from your peers. From coming up with an idea, to coding an app, to presenting it to members of Congress, each of you has shown creativity, determination, and skill. You should be incredibly proud of what you've accomplished. Perhaps most inspiring is that more than half of you recognized challenges in your community caused by COVID-19 and created apps to address it. That's just wonderful. Some of you created apps to improve the virtual learning experience. Others help foster a safer shopping experience for at-risk individuals. This is the innovative spirit we need to solve big problems in America. People like you can pioneer advancements and discover new things that will have a lasting impact. With the skills you're learning in school and through competitions like these, the opportunities are absolutely endless. Think about it. Students participating tonight could go on to cure cancer, design programs for Apple or Microsoft, become CEO of a major company, or maybe even become a member of Congress, God forbid. Cybersecurity is one of the greatest threats of our time. It is critical to nearly every aspect of our way of life. Right now, cyber attackers are targeting schools, libraries, and even hospitals, and are looking to exploit vulnerabilities in their systems. Cyber threats clearly have real-world consequences, which is why it's so important to have talented people who can help us solve the problems of tomorrow. We live in a digital world, and that's why I'm so encouraged by your interest in STEM and computer science. It bodes well for the future of our country indeed, our economy, and our homeland security to have people like you learning these valuable skills. Again, congratulations on winning the 2020 Congressional App Challenge, the largest student app development contest in the entire world. I encourage you to stay involved, learn as much as you can, and always look for ways you can add value. I have no doubt you have a bright future ahead of you. Thank you and take care, and may God bless you all.
All right. And up next, we have remarks from Representative Jared Huffman.
Hi, everyone. I'm Congressman Jared Huffman from California's 2nd Congressional District, and I want to thank the Congressional App Challenge staff and the Internet Education Foundation for supporting this year's competition. Also, I want to thank all of this year's participants for your submissions. We got some great work product from California's young minds. And through this global pandemic, we've really seen the importance of technology more than ever before. Our computers and tablets and smartphones have kept us socially connected despite our inability to meet in person and to work and learn with each other in person. Video conferencing apps and other programs have ensured that key sectors of our economy continue to function through this national crisis, and they've helped students like yourselves successfully continue your education. This pandemic is just one example of the amazing ability technology has to solve problems. And every year I am so inspired by the amazing apps that students come up with in this nationwide challenge. Students in my district have created graphing and other school-related programs, technology simplification tools, and games and entertainment-based applications. Our winners this year in California's 2nd District, Beck Lorsch and Amrit Baveja, created an amazing contact tracing app that allows educators and school administrators to track symptomatic COVID cases so that they can aid school reopenings. They worked with local public health officials and school districts to ensure that they were building something that could be deployed. And they offered it for a fraction of the cost that you would pay a private developer. It's through STEM education that students like you have the opportunity to gain skills in this key sector, and I am committed to supporting more funding to ensure that our schools get the support they need. We just passed the American Rescue Plan, and it was signed into law by President Biden. This bill provides new resources for schools to reopen safely and also creates funding for more broadband access to keep students connected. Our work is not done yet. I'm ready to do more in this Congress to make sure that you have the resources you need to continue your work in STEM. It is an honor to see the work that you've accomplished, and I look forward to seeing what you do next.
All right, and next we have Representative Dina Titus.
Hello, I'm Dina Titus, your representative for Nevada's 1st District in the heart of Las Vegas. I'd like to congratulate all of the winners of the Congressional App Challenge for your outstanding work. There were so many high-quality entries from across the country. You and your parents and your teachers have so much to be proud of. I want to especially recognize Dylan Gowdy from Hyde Park Middle School for winning my district's Congressional App Challenge. This past year has been such a difficult one for students, teachers, and parents, and the app Dylan created, DigiNote, would make online schooling easier by giving students a new way to take notes. The fact that you put that all together and you're just in the 6th grade makes me so excited to see what you'll accomplish in the years to come. It's no surprise that many of the winners created apps to deal with the challenges that are presented by distance learning. That approach demonstrates exactly what STEM is all about, addressing difficult problems by developing innovative solutions. And if you all continue on this path, you won't just be helping out your fellow classmates. In the future, you'll be making improvements to our systems of healthcare, transportation, education, and government. Those of us who grew up in an era without smartphones in our pockets have a lot to learn from you. While I know I don't have the technical expertise to develop an app of my own, I do have a great appreciation and an understanding of the importance of your work. That's why I'm committed to making computer science education accessible for all. I'm proud to have supported the Building Blocks of STEM Act, which was recently signed into law to increase the participation of young women in computer science. But that's just a start, which is why I authored the Training Highly Skilled Workers Act to invest in scholarships for lower income individuals entering STEM programs. The bill would also provide resources for minority-serving institutions to increase diversity in these growing fields. Those of you who have access to high-quality STEM education are going to be the next generation of leaders and discoverers. You will make the U.S. competitive in the global market. You'll cure diseases and land on Mars. That's why I'm so grateful for all the hard work you put into the Congressional App Challenge, and I encourage you to keep it up. Congratulations again to Dylan and to all the winners across the country. You're great. Keep it up.
Right. And I want to quickly pause here. Those are some great remarks from Representative Titus, Representative Huffman, Representative Katko. Really inspiring remarks, encouraging students to continue to stay in the STEM field on the STEM path, and then also talking about what they're doing in Congress to help make that possible for future generations as well. I want to quickly read a quote we got here from one of our app challengers named Siddhant. We asked the question earlier in the presentation, how has the Congressional App Challenge inspired you? And he put in a great answer, so I just want to take a moment and read it aloud. He said, the Congressional App Challenge has inspired me to think about the big picture. At first, all you think about is how you can bring change in issues for yourself, such as how you can make your life easier. But this challenge has set me in a different mindset, a mindset where I think about others who aren't as fortunate in life and live with lives full of struggle. That's why my project targeted fixing the issue of bad water quality. Water is something that no person should have to worry about and is something you need every day to survive. In India, there are such horrible water conditions in places, and the Congressional App Challenge truly inspired me to change from being someone who can just observe and seize the issues to someone who can bring change that solves issues for people in underdeveloped countries around the world. That really gets to the heart of what we're hoping to do here. I know I reviewed that app personally, and it was an incredible app, and we saw so many that were just as inspiring and just as just as inspirational and just as amazing in their quality and in their empathy. So Thank you, Sadat, for entering that. Now I'd like to go ahead and introduce or reintroduce Charlie Liu from our Alumni Advisory Board, and he will be handling the final introductions for the final 3 keynotes of the evening. Charlie?
Thanks again, Joe. I'd love to introduce our last 3 speakers for today. First up, I'd love to introduce Representative Young Kim. Representative Kim is a freshman member of Congress who represents California's 39th district. She's one of the first 3 Korean American women ever elected to Congress, and she's also a member of the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for hosting an app challenge in your district, especially during your first term. Next up is Representative Steve Womack, who is a member of Congress who represents Arkansas's 3rd district. Prior to serving in Congress, he served as a member of the Arkansas Army National Guard for more than 30 years. Thank you for your service, and we also really appreciate your longtime support of the App Challenge. Quick fun fact, the Arkansas delegation has an awesome 100% participation rate in the App Challenge. Next up is Representative Lauren Underwood, who is a member of Congress who represents Illinois' 14th district. She is the first woman and person of color to represent her community in Congress, and she previously served as a senior advisor at the Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your support for the App Challenge, and I'd love to hand it over to the 3 of you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Young Kim, representing California's 39th Congressional District. It is so good to join you virtually today for House of Code. And I understand that this event is to recognize and congratulate all the winners and everyone who participated in the 2020 Congressional App Challenge. As a member of the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, I am inspired to hear that over 6,500 middle and high school students from across the nation have signed up to compete in the 2020 App Challenge. Congratulations. This demonstrates that you are resilient and the future of our nation. By participating in the Congressional App Challenge, you have already embarked on a journey to become a prepared workforce and leaders in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So keep up the great work. We need minds like you to create, innovate, and inspire others to pursue fields in STEM. Last, but certainly not least, I want to send a special shout out to a group of students from Troy High School in the city of Fullerton in the state of California. Yanni Columbus, Su Yang Zhu, Viraj Jansari, and Sean Shin, they won the App Challenge in my district. So I want to congratulate all of you. And I want you to know that Troy High School has a special place in my heart, as all 4 of my children also attended and graduated there. So go Warriors. Their app, Food for All, is changing the way we organize volunteer drives to make resources accessible for all and promote community service in times of need. And I can already see this app being used more widely as more groups in our community find out about it. So again, it's an honor to represent you in the United States Congress, and I look forward to seeing all your accomplishments moving forward. Thank you.
All right. And up next, we have Representative Steve Womack.
Hi, I'm Congressman Steve Womack, proudly representing Arkansas's 3rd District. And I appreciate having the opportunity to say a few words at tonight's House of Code event. It's important to me. The Congressional App Challenge is something my office participates in every year because it gives students like you an opportunity to innovate. This is extremely important because you are the future of technology talent. You know, STEM's going to grow economic opportunity and innovation in the coming years, much like it already has. And if the pandemic has showed us anything, it's the value of tech and STEM. From Zoom to tracking data, the use of technology has been fundamental to our response. The transformative use of STEM is only going to increase. and it's incredible to see young students use technology to problem solve and create positive change. I'm extremely impressed with the ingenuity and the creativity on display each year. You see, students are thinking big, they're getting creative, and using computer science to develop solutions to some of America's biggest challenges. For example, the latest winner from the 3rd District, Vera Unum, used technology to solve a real-world problem, this one in water. Vera's app, Soil Moisture Control, is focused on helping ag producers and farmers. This application tracks soil moisture for crops and houseplants and then allows the user to tap a button to water as needed. He saw a problem facing production agriculture today and created technology to help address it. Impressively, he had a fully functional program that utilized both software and hardware he developed. And he's only in middle school. Can you imagine that? I hope his work inspires other gifted students who are watching this to pursue STEM education and careers in technology. To compete in a 21st century global economy, young people must enter the workforce with unprecedented technological savvy. Competitions that encourage STEM education, like the Congressional App Challenge, are important in my judgment to growing our innovation and technology pipeline. I know each student here today has the skills and the drive to problem solve and create change. The future is bright with young innovators like Vera and all the other winners watching tonight. So I congratulate you all, and I challenge you to keep honing those skills. The ideas you have today will become the platforms of tomorrow.
All right. And then finally, for our last keynote of the evening, we have some remarks from Representative Lauren Underwood.
Hi, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, and I'm from the 14th District of Illinois. Welcome to the annual House of Code. I wanted to take a moment and congratulate all the winners of this year's Congressional App Challenge. I can't believe over 6,200 students nationwide have participated in this year's App Challenge, coding over 1,850 fully functioning apps. One of the reasons I enjoy the Congressional App Challenge is because it gives us an insight into what drives our young people, how you view the needs of the community and world, and how you seek to improve it. When my office hosted our Congressional App Challenge last year, almost every single app was designed to address a challenge facing our community. For example, one app addressed the coin shortage by connecting local businesses with community members. Another app offered a way for individuals to keep track of their medications and remind them when to take them. This is why I have so much optimism for this next generation of leaders. You see a problem, then you roll up your sleeves and do something about it. I know that this past year has been tough. The pandemic has taken a psychological and emotional toll on all of us. But despite all of that, you managed to collaborate with one another and create some impressive apps. My district is home to so many fantastic leaders in STEM, and we're home to Fermi National Laboratory. My first year in Congress, I gave a House floor speech about Arya Soha, who is an engineer and now a member of the Strategic Facility Assessment Team at Fermilab, and she's doing some incredible work. Despite the high demand of jobs in the STEM field, women are still underrepresented, especially in engineering and computer sciences. We must continue to encourage students to pursue STEM and give them the tools that they need to follow their passions. Those entering the computer science field are more critical than ever in contributing to local, national, and global success. I'm committed to ensuring young people have the resources to pursue an interest in computer science and supporting programming that develops the future leaders of this nation, you. Thank you all for sharing your creativity and passion for computer science. I hope you enjoy this year's House of Code, and great job, everybody. Keep up the good work.
All right. And that brings us to the end of our presentation this evening. I want to quickly talk about House of Code as it will go for the next few days, as while this is the end of our kickoff and keynote session, this is not the end of House of Code 2021. Tomorrow, we have some incredibly exciting events. The first of which will be select members of Congress who hosted member-student interviews. They'll be releasing them over their social media channels. These should be incredibly exciting and fun to watch. So look out all over social media for people using the hashtag House of Code tomorrow to check out some of those interviews from members of Congress speaking directly to their winners, and again, released online. Tomorrow afternoon and early evening, we are hosting a STEM Inspiration Fair with 17 incredible organizations who will be speaking directly with Congressional App Challenge winners from 2020. These range from universities, top 50 computer science universities across the country, to some of our favorite nonprofits, to sponsors that we work very closely with. And we are so excited to have an opportunity to introduce to the students who are taking part in this year's House of Code event. Finally, on Friday, we have the culmination of House of Code, and that is the student demonstrations. This is an opportunity for the students to showcase their winning apps for the general public, for members of Congress, for their families, for their friends, and that is open for the general public. So if you have an interest in checking that out, if you want to see some of these incredible students, incredible apps demonstrated live, on Friday, they'll be doing that in 2 different batches, one at 4:30 Eastern and another at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can find information about how to RSVP for that on our website, congressionalappchallenge.us. Finally, this evening, I'd like to thank all of the speakers, all of the members of Congress who spoke, as well as Morgan Reed from the App Association and Lieutenant Colonel Lampkin. Really incredible remarks and an amazing opportunity to hear from leaders in the computer science and STEM space. Lastly, I want to thank our sponsors who make this competition possible. This is such an incredible opportunity for so many students around the country, and it wouldn't be possible without their support. Real leaders in the industry doing things to make sure that these students have an opportunity to showcase and to pursue a passion in computer science. So thank you to all of our sponsors. With that said, we will be wrapping up for the evening. We're looking forward to seeing many of you tomorrow for the STEM Inspiration Fair, and we hope to see all of you on Friday for the student demonstrations. So have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night, and hopefully we see you tomorrow.